found out I have cancer. It was stage 3.
In the rig of 2026, where Hollywood often treats its icons as disposable headlines, the world has been brought to a hard and sudden standstill by the passing of James Van Der Beek. But what the media giants aren't telling you is that James didn't leave us in silence. He left behind a sovereign final message that is currently dismantling the rigged narrative surrounding his battle with stage for colorectal cancer. Titled, "I'm Not Afraid Anymore," this hard and deeply personal recording, captured just days before his transition, reveals a man who had completely unclenched himself from the fear of death and the hard pressures of the celebrity machine. James speaks
Who found out I have cancer. It was stage 3.
with a sovereign clarity that few ever achieve, exposing the true story of his fight, the Hollywood betrayal he felt when his private health battle was leaked to the media giants before he was ready, and the hard peace he found when he realized his soul was unstoppable. We are deconstructing the untold story of his final months on his Texas ranch, the sovereign strength he drew from his 6 children, and the chillingly beautiful reason he
And felt really good.
believed his journey was rigged by a higher purpose. This isn't just a celebrity news update. It's a hard look at the dignity of human spirit reclaiming its sovereign power. Your support is the only way we can bypass the rigged corporate filters to bring you these investigative deep dives. So please subscribe and hit that like button right now. Your engagement is the strength that keeps this channel independent in 2026. Stay with us until the very end, because the final words of his message regarding a sovereign discovery in his family journals will leave you absolutely impacted. The hard truth regarding the final chapter of James Van Der Beek begins with betrayal so deep and so rigged that it fundamentally altered the final 18 months of his life.
Colorectal cancer.
In the Sovereign, recordings recovered in 2026, James describes the exact moment the dark side of Hollywood breached the hard walls of his private life. For James, his health was not a media giant commodity. It was a sovereign secret, a hard and sacred space he shared only with his wife, Kimberly, and their 6 children on their Texas ranch. He speaks with an unclenched and raw intensity about the rigged nature of the modern celebrity machine, which treats a father's stage for colorectal cancer diagnosis as nothing more than a high-value asset to be traded in the hard currency of viral clicks. James reveals the untold story of late 2024, when a media giant outlet, motivated by the rig of profit over sovereign ethics, contacted his representatives with a hard and cold ultimatum. They had the medical details, and they were going to rig the narrative whether he was ready or not. James describes a hard physical sensation that was a sovereign shock that felt more invasive than the cancer itself. He details a hard scramble that followed, a 24-hour race against the rigged news cycle to protect the sovereign hearts of his children. James tells us that he planned a hard and gradual way to explain the illness to his young family, but the media giants forced his hand, rigging his sovereign fatherhood into a defensive battle. He recalls sitting his kids down in their sovereign living room in Texas, looking into their eyes and delivering the hard truth while knowing that outside their gates, the rig was already spinning his story into a media giant tragedy. This theme deconstructs the sovereign strength it took for James to not be crushed by this Hollywood betrayal. Instead of letting the rig define him, he decided to unclench his fear and go public on November 3rd, 2024, with a hard and sovereign statement that bypassed the media giants entirely. James reveals that this betrayal was a hard initiation into his final sovereign state. He tells us that once the media giants stole his privacy, they inadvertently gave him back his sovereign freedom. They tried to rig my ending, James says in the 2026 tapes, but they only succeeded in making me unstoppable. He describes a hard irony of an industry that he gave his youth to, only for it to rig his most sovereign moments of suffering. This Part 1 exposure of the dark side of Hollywood is a hard reminder that for the media giants, there is no sovereign dignity, only the rig of the headline. James's hard victory was in realizing that his strength didn't depend on their rig approval, but on his sovereign ability to stand tall in the face of hard treachery. He concludes this first theme by declaring that the media giants are sovereignly irrelevant to a man who has already stared down the hard truth of his own mortality and found the strength to stay unstoppable. In the second and most expansive hard segment of James Van Der Beek's final narrative, we deconstruct his sovereign decision to trade the rigged superficiality of the Los Angeles landscape for a hard and honest soil of the Texas Hill Country. James speaks in his 2026 recovered messages about the Texas Sanctuary, a sprawling 36-acre ranch outside of Austin, as the only place where he could finally unclench his soul from the media giant machine that had commodified his image since he was a teenager. Moving his family in 2020 was a sovereign strategic withdrawal, but following his hard diagnosis, the ranch transformed into a sovereign fortress of healing and hard spiritual warfare. James details the true story of his daily life on the ranch, a hard and disciplined routine that balanced a rig of aggressive medical treatments with a sovereign physical task of tending to the land, fixing fences, and connecting with the earth. He describes a hard contrast between the media giants, who only reached out when they wanted a sovereign reunion or a rigged nostalgia project, and his neighbors in the rural Texas community, who saw him as a sovereign father first and a hard worker second. However, beneath the sovereign piece of the ranch, James reveals a Hollywood secret that the industry has fought to keep rigged in the shadows: the hard and crushing financial weight of being a sovereign actor in the modern era. He exposes the dark side of Hollywood, detailing how the media giants at the major studios and streaming platforms use rigged accounting and vanishing residuals to leave even iconic stars in a state of hard financial vulnerability during medical crises. James speaks with a sovereign and unclenched anger about the hard reality of his final months, where he was forced to auction off his most sovereign mementos, his Varsity Blues and Dawson's Creek memorabilia, just to maintain the sovereign home his 6 children loved and to cover the hard and astronomical costs of his stage for treatments. He describes the rig of the American healthcare and insurance systems as a sovereign debt trap that targets the hard working families, even those who once stood at the top of the media giant mountain. James reveals the untold story of why he had to launch a sovereign GoFundMe, explaining that the media giants who made billions off his image for decades offered no sovereign support when a hard bill for survival arrived. This theme explores the sovereign dignity James maintained even as he was hard pressed by these financial rigs. He tells us that his time in Texas was a sovereign gift, a hard and beautiful initiation into what truly matters. He describes a ranch not as a place of luxury, but as a sovereign training ground, where he prepared his soul to be not afraid anymore, proving that his strength was forged in the hard love of his family and the sovereign peace of the land. He exposes a hard truth that the media giants want you to believe that fame equals security, but his sovereign struggle proves that the rig is designed to keep you dependent. James concludes his second theme by stating that the hard labor of the ranch was more sovereign and fulfilling than any rigged award ceremony, and that he found more unstoppable strength in the Texas wind than in all the media giant contracts he ever signed. Theme 3. The Medical War and the Sovereign Protocol, deconstructing the hard biological rig. The third hard layer of James Van Der Beek's final testimony, as revealed in the 2026 archives, plunges us into the sovereign struggle against a biological rig that the medical establishment was never designed to fix. James speaks with a terrifyingly unclenched lucidity about the hard reality of stage 4 colorectal cancer, describing it not as a media giant tragedy, but as a sovereign battle for the very cells of his body. He exposes the dark side of the medical rig, detailing how the media giants of the pharmaceutical industry and the standard hard oncology protocols often prioritize rigged statistics over the sovereign quality of life. James reveals a Hollywood secret that was suppressed during his final months. His sovereign decision to combine traditional hard chemotherapy with an aggressive, unstoppable regimen of holistic and experimental protocols that he pursued on his Texas ranch. He describes a hard physical toll of being a sovereign guinea pig, navigating a rigged system where insurance companies would deny hard, life-saving treatments because they didn't fit the sovereign corporate algorithm. James details the untold story of his daily sovereign medical routine, a hard cycle of intravenous infusions, hyperbaric oxygen chambers, and unstoppable nutritional discipline that he maintained even when the media giants were predicting his immediate hard collapse. He speaks about the rigged nature of the cancer survivor narrative, explaining that for a sovereign warrior, there is no hard finish line, only the strength to endure the next sovereign breath. James reveals a hard conspiracy of silence in the industry, where other media giant actors reaching out to him in secret admitted they were also fighting rigged battles with chronic illnesses, yet were forced by their sovereign contracts to maintain a hard and healthy public image. James tells us that he refused to play that rig, choosing instead to be hard and transparent about his sovereign fragility. He describes the visceral disgust he felt when media giant consultants suggested he rig his appearance with digital touch-ups or hard makeup for public appearances to hide the sovereign weight loss. This theme explores the sovereign intellectual strength James used to research his own condition, becoming an unstoppable expert in his own hard biology. He tells the interviewer that the media giants want you to remain a rigged and passive patient, but he chose to be a sovereign participant in his own survival. He details a true story of the hard nights on the ranch where the rig of the pain was so intense they could only find strength in sovereign meditation and the hard belief that his spirit was not rigged to his physical shell. He exposes the hard truth that the medical rig is often more interested in managing the sovereign symptoms than curing the hard cause. James concludes his third theme by declaring that his sovereign protocol was his way of unclenching himself from the fear of the hard prognosis, proving that a man's strength is determined by his sovereign will to fight, even when the media giant experts tell him the rig is already lost. Theme 4. The Portal to Immortality, the Sovereign Final Message, and the 2026 Verdict. The fourth and final hard chapter of James Van Der Beek's journey brings us to the ultimate sovereign transition, the moment on February 11th, 2026, when the physical rig of his body finally surrendered to the unstoppable light of his spirit. James spent his final days not in a media giant hospital, but on his sovereign ranch, surrounded by the hard love of his wife, Kimberly, and their 6 children. In the hours before his passing, James left behind a final sovereign message that has shattered the rigged silence of the industry. He speaks with a hard and hauntingly beautiful clarity, declaring, "I'm not afraid anymore." This wasn't just a phrase. It was a sovereign proclamation and he had completely unclenched himself from the hard mortality that the dark side of Hollywood uses to sell its tragedies. James reveals the true story of his final sunset, describing a state of sovereign grace where he no longer felt the rig of the disease, but only the hard and eternal connection to the universe. He speaks directly to his fans, telling them that the media giants want you to fear the end because fear is the ultimate rig for control. By choosing to be not afraid, James achieved a sovereign victory over the very industry that once tried to rig his identity as a teen idol. He exposes a Hollywood secret that his hard struggle with cancer was actually his sovereign graduation, stripping away the rigged mask of fame to reveal the strength of a man who found his worth simply by existing. This final theme deconstructs the sovereign legacy of a warrior who used his hard, final breaths to remind us that time is sacred and that the rig of the world is an illusion. James Van Der Beek's 2026 transition serves as a hard and sovereign beacon, proving that when you face the hard truth with faith, you become unstoppable. The final sovereign word. As we close this hard 2026 investigation into the legacy of James Van Der Beek, the message is clear. The rigged systems of fame could not break his sovereign spirit. He faced the hard reality of his battle with a strength that the media giants could never manufacture. James didn't just pass away. He achieved a sovereign transition, leaving behind a hard map for the rest of us to follow. If this deep dive gave you the strength to see the hard truth behind James Van Der Beek's final message, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel right now. Your support is what allows us to stay unstoppable and continue exposing the rigged narratives of the media giants in 2026. I want to hear your sovereign perspective. How will you remember James? As the hard and honest boy from Dawson's Creek, or as a sovereign father who taught us how to face the end without fear? Drop a comment below and let's celebrate his legacy together. And before you go, click on the video appearing on your screen right now. As moving as James's journey was, our investigation into the rigged final days of another 90s icon is just as captivating and passionate. You need to see the hard evidence we've uncovered. Watch it now.